What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Red Dot, where we bring you the best of the bestest from the east to the westest. I am your host, Unrested, with the questions and news you requested. Our first story today concerns the funeral of one very beloved FizzUrp, a pro gamer who recently died in the news and known all throughout the YouTube community. Sadly, he was killed at only the age of 23 in a driving accident. Many people reported that it was a drunk driving accident, but that was found to not be true. He was 100% sober, and it was not his fault that this happened. He was not drunk and driving at the wheel. In fact, he was quite sober, and it was reported that everyone had seen him drinking water that night. Hopefully that clears his name and all the news gets out there that is the proper news. On top of it, there's a bit of controversy because now he's had his funeral live streamed. And a lot of people really upset about this. They were complaining like this is a complete abuse of privacy. It's using streams for things that shouldn't be used. And I feel like that's really up to the family and up to FizzUrp. Of course, he can't make this decision posthumously, but if I myself died and my funeral was streamed, even myself as a very small YouTuber, I would be very proud of that. I'd feel like that was the last way that I could connect with my viewers. And I'm quite sure that FizzUrp probably felt the same way, seeing as he lived and streamed. That's an amazing legacy to leave behind. On top of it, can I just bring up the fact that Michael Jackson's funeral was broadcast on TV? What's the difference? What is the difference between that? Someone's entire funeral being broadcasted across many channels and one little tiny funeral being streamed. Come on now. You know, if you're against one, you got to be against the other. Next up on our news comes from a podcast that recently came out, the Bait It Podcast, which if you have not already checked out, you definitely should check into the Bait It Podcast. If you like the news that you hear on here, you're going to love the news you hear on there. It is a combination of Colossal is Crazy and Keemstar, which many of you may love or hate or love to hate, and Tommy C, who I'm actually a pretty big fan of his channel and his call-in show. He's got a great show. If you do go over there, please tell them Unrested sent you. I would love to get a shout out on that show at some point. Anyway, H3 was on there. Ethan from H3 was on there, and he was interviewed by Keemstar, Colossal, and Tommy about the whole incident with Leafy and Pyrocynical. I'm sure if you've kept up with any kind of news, you know there's been a huge feud going on. And on top of that, he's kind of had a bit of a calling out of Pyrocynical. Well, it appears that DMs that he sent to apologize to Pyrocynical were then later sent to Leafy to use as ammo in the sort of roast video that Leafy had made against H3, and he felt very betrayed for this, which I can understand why. After that, though, Pyrocynical actually came out and apologized to H3, and the hatchet has been buried. Ethan and Pyrocynical are now friends once again. Nonetheless, Leafy is still not really in the clear. He is being burned at the stake. And so is Grade A Under A, who was one of the people that, along with Leafy, attacked Keemstar, as you may know in the past, for all different types of accusations, everything from being a pedophile, totally not true, to the point that they actually even had, and this was via another fan listening to the show, the child services come to their house and check out the situation of if he was beating his wife, if he was abusing his kid. And I don't know about you, but that is just a massive invasion of privacy where, you know, if you see evidence of that on video, sure, yeah, go ahead, do it, call Child Protection Services. But to just assume and then call and disrupt somebody's life in that way, no matter how much you hate them or their channel, is insanity. It is totally breaking all laws of privacy, and it's getting into the realm of psychopathy. I mean, it's insanity. Anyway, Grade A came out and said, well, he doesn't know exactly why Leafy attacked Keemstar, because apparently he's been accused of doing it as a business move to kind of get himself taken away from Keemstar's audience and put in a league of his own. Grade A says, no, that's not why I did it, and it wasn't a business move for me. It was because Keemstar is racist. Yeah, that's pretty lame. I don't know if you love or hate Keemstar. It's completely up to you. He runs Drama Alert. In the past, his whole shtick, though, was streaming and being a troll live, and he would do anything to get people worked up and say anything. I'm not saying that that's right, but it didn't in the same way make him a racist. Yeah, he said some crazy stuff during his streaming days, during his trolling days. He was doing it as a job, as a professional troll, as someone who got his followers and his viewers from trolling. Okay, he would say and do anything, and yeah, it got him into trouble later, and he was called out and he apologized for it. He said some of the things I said went too far, but he is by no means a racist. I mean, I think you can see that just from all the different people he's collabed with, you know, of multiple ethnicities. Ridiculous. Grade A, under A, obviously grasping at straws as his channel and Leafy's channel continue to bleed subscribers. Alright, J News everybody. First up, we've got a story about a disabled woman who was yelled at for using priority seats by an older gentleman. I don't know if we can really class him as a gentleman though, if he's yelling at a disabled woman for sitting in the priority seats. And if you don't know what those are special seats reserved on trains and subways for people with either, number one, pregnant, elderly, disabled, heart problems, or with very, very small children. She herself actually had a heart problem, which, unless your heart starts beating on the outside of your chest, you can't really see. She had a special identifying tag that actually hangs from her bag, or you can place in your wallet. She had hers in her wallet, and she sat there and was yelled out promptly by an elderly man who said that that seat was for him. When she said, "I have a unseen disability, it is my heart," he was like, "Well, you should make it more seen, or at least try to act more disabled," which, Christ, right? I will say some of my rudest experience in Japan have come from older Japanese men up in their 60s and 70s. They come from a time where the elders were respected for just anything they did, whether it be right or wrong, whether their decision be right or wrong, whether their advice be right or wrong, or whether the, I guess, insults they hurl were right or wrong, and this is just another incident of that. I will say overall, Japanese people are incredibly polite, incredibly generous, incredibly helpful. I've had nothing but good times here, but every once in a while it is peppered by some older Japanese man trying something either racist, rude, or just outright insulting. And that's what happened here. You yourself are able to use priority seating as a gaijin too if you have any of these, even if you have a temporary disability. For example, if you break your leg and need to use crutches, or for some reason you're putting in a wheelchair for a short time, there is actually an area for that. As well, if you come here with small children, for example, holding them in one of those shoulder holders, or even having a cart that you need to push, a pram as you Australians call it, yes, you can use those areas. Feel free, and if some older man yells at you for it, point to the sign. That's what I always do. When I had a little kid, sometimes I'd have some old dude yell at me. I had the kid in my little shoulder holder, and I would point to the exact symbol. There's literally a picture of it drawn there, and I'd be like, and they'd be like, "Well, I don't know what to say." All right, guys, it's you and me time. Let's talk it up. Come on, get close. Grab that snack, grab that drink. Oh man, you guys are the best. After that one I put up yesterday, that video from yesterday, man, you guys are so awesome. I can never express, like, the kind of motivation is an ineffable experience that you give me. I can't describe it. You told me, do whatever you want, Scott. We're not here for your show. You're here for my personality. Mind blown. Okay, guys, I always feel like my show is the only thing that carries this channel. I honestly, for a long time, have felt like JFAC is the only thing that carries this channel. I guess I've never taken a second to take a step back and be like, gosh, do people like me? You know, I guess I feel almost like I'm bragging now, talking about that you guys wrote comments that were like, Scott, we're watching for your personality, do whatever kind of show you want. Mind blown, mind blown. I don't know how else to say it. That's a massive compliment. That leaves me kind of like high all day. Like after I read the comments for that, I pretty much flew home. Psh, okay, guys, thank you so much support. The channel's definitely not ending after I hear stuff like this. Scott, do whatever you want. We just watch it for your personality. Okay, I'm gonna continue to be me. I'm good at doing that. And I hopefully can be good at bringing you new, different, and better shows that entertain you, the viewer, here on Big Red Dot.
Godsmack is how the wind feels on the face of Mike Winfield on his way home from the bar where he works nights, the worst nights. Don't nobody tip right, and between the marriage offers and the fist fights.